Welcome to this interview. McKamey and I are having a lot of fun creating some good content to share. Last time she interviewed me about tarot and oracle cards, and this time I get to interview her about some ideas that come up in her coaching practice. So here's McKamey. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. I started a business recently. It's just my name, McKamey TP, and I'm offering one-on-one coaching to people, and then I'm gonna have some other offers for people who aren't interested in like one-on-one stuff, like a health-oriented e-course and some other stuff that I enjoy. So
nice.
Yeah, I think the people who will enjoy it will find me, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, is that how you originally got into health coaching? Was it because of going to medical school? Is that part of your inspiration?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went to medical school because I've been interested in health for a long time, and didn't think our healthcare system was really serving people, and I had this idea that if I learned everything there was to know, which medical school would teach me, then I would be able to help people. And obviously I learned a lot about the human body and stuff, but I found still what I was able to offer patients to be lacking in my mind in terms of like the time I could spend with them and like the the model of it, like in medicine. I think we were talking about it a little bit before, how I think like allopathic medicine, like our westernized medicine, is very symptom driven, and so we want to treat symptoms. But I've been interested since before I went to medical school, and like looking at like getting to the root cause of things, so that the problem can be potentially eliminated, instead of just kind of glossed over.
What do you think that translates into changes in daily habits then? And that's what people could bring to their coaching sessions?
Yeah, that seems to be what a lot of people are looking for in terms of like coaching, is that they feel like they're unable to kind of stick to daily habits that they know are good for them, or they know even from past experience that like make them feel better day to day. But they're like, well, if I know that this like helps me feel better, then like why aren't I doing it?
Yeah.
And we're all human. I'm human. I've struggled with that as well different times, but yeah, sometimes it's easier to help other people with it than to implement it ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard for some people to get out more in winter. You just want to be cozy in your house, but then if you take a walk, even when it's cold, you get all those endorphins.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I remember, I feel like wintertime, it's like, oh yeah, it's natural to want to like hibernate. But it's also like a nice brisk walk in the cold. Yeah, it's like invigorating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you do get all those nice endorphins, like you said.
That's true. Let's see. Well, we talked a lot when we were preparing for the interview. We talked a lot about motivation and how people might have like different feelings or different relationship to their own sense of motivation. So how do you think motivation plays a role in people making the changes that they want to make and reaching their goals?
We were talking about how like usually a lot of people, or everyone, like struggles with motivation for different reasons, but a lot of times I found it's from limiting beliefs that they have, and like the example I was giving is like, and also like I've heard this different places of if people have the belief that like successful people get up early in the morning, then they're like, oh, okay, well I'm not a morning person, or like I'll never be successful unless I become a morning person. Or like if they're trying to exercise more frequently, they're like, oh, like in order to exercise, I need to get up at 5:30 every day so that I can like do this particular workout before I go to work. And so then they struggle with motivation because they have trouble getting up that early, when really if they just, I don't know, exercise when it was more convenient for them in their day, then it wouldn't be as difficult. So so some of what coaching is kind of talking those things out, and figuring out how to make things like as easy as possible, so that people can stick to the changes they do end up making.
So you can work to someone's strengths. It doesn't have to be like rewriting everything in their life. It can be something that they're already drawn to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think studies have shown too that forming new habits, that helps if you like pair it with something that you're already doing.
Oh, that makes sense.
So another example is like sometimes like if people have trouble remembering to take like medication or something, it's like, well, most of us like brush our teeth every day. So like when people like put their pill bottles by their toothbrush, then they like remember to take.
Don't want to hide it from yourself.
Put it in. Where did I put those pills again? Are they in the cupboard or the who knows?
Yeah. Let's see what else. So let's talk a little bit more about modern medicine versus like healthy lifestyle changes. And so,
what would you like to know? There's so much to say.
Yeah, there's a lot. Let me think. Well, just like, I mean, so it seems like what you're doing is very holistic. So you're helping people make those changes in habits to reach their goals, and it's fitted into their life. Something they're incorporating into their daily life, hopefully. So that's a lot different than just treating a symptom in modern medicine. So with your coaching, people would see a long-term change, potentially.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and that was also reminding me that, I think coaching can be like a complement to modern medicine. So, I mean, like for people who might have like regular doctor's visits, because like if they have like a chronic health condition that they are going to require medicine long term, then I think coaching can be like a complement to their medical care, because it can, like, we can spend time together that they might not be able to spend with their doctor. So it's like that, and then also it can also be a standalone thing if people are just kind of trying to kind of optimize their life. So I mean, it can be about optimizing your life for anyone, but I'm not doing coaching as like a diss to modern medicine, because I think that modern medicine does some things like very, very well. Like we were talking about, like if you have like a heart attack or you have a stroke, it's like you
break your leg or something.
It's like you definitely want to go to the hospital, and like you're gonna, like, because we're very good at doing surgery and procedures and stuff, but for something else that's gonna affect your long-term life in more like incremental ways, then I think coaching is going to be more powerful for people than what they might be able to get in like their internal medicine doctor's office or something.
That's cool. So it can go hand in hand. Like you could, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Let's talk more about limiting beliefs. And so you mentioned when we were preparing for the interview that people have early conditioning in most cases that creates like a limiting belief as they reach adulthood, and that might hold them back from reaching their goals. Can you talk more about that?
Oh yeah, you were asking where I thought limiting beliefs come from, and in my experience from coaching people and like hearing about other coaches' experience with their clients, for everyone it really is just like the inner child. It's like you can take people back to like the root cause of things, and usually it's before they were 10 years old.
Really? That's interesting.
And it is interesting because it's like, well, I think most of us don't have, or who knows, but I think in a lot of cases that it's not like any parent or person was like purposely trying to like inflict these like beliefs
Mm-hmm.
on someone, like, yeah, you must get up early to be successful, or like, yeah, but at some point, yeah, humans are so perceptive that when we're children, then we kind of get these subconscious messages, and then we end up ingraining them into our beliefs about. Yeah, so then if you don't get to the root cause of that, then you don't know. Then you might never know.
Yeah.
And it's easier to kind of spot these things from an outside perspective. Like, that's why I've enjoyed having a coach of my own, because it's like she can spot me on things that I can spot on other people. But yeah, it's harder. Some things are hard to do on your own.
That's true. I noticed that, like, I can see if I have an issue and I see it in someone else, like, that person needs to work on that. And they're like, oh, that's me too. Yeah. It's so interesting. There's something about seeing something in front of you is so much easier sometimes.
Yeah, well, I've also heard recently how, and I think this is true too, how, like, you know, like, everyone's like a mirror. So it's like, if you see something in someone else, either good or bad, then you also have that. So if you're like, wow, that person is so motivated. Like, that person, like, is, like, really has their shit together. Then it's like, you, even if you don't see that in yourself, it's like you do have that capability. By seeing it in someone else, like, that means that you also have the capability to, like, do that thing.
I like that, because sometimes we just think about the negative part of mirroring. I like that you can use both.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So if you're like, wow, that person's like a really powerful leader, it's like, oh, like, you have leadership potential. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. You mentioned something really cool earlier, that when you're doing coaching sessions, sometimes you repeat someone's words back to them. And you said something interesting about that you can't even summarize or paraphrase. Like, sometimes you have to use the literal words. How does that work?
Yeah, so actually I learned this from my coach too. So she's a really fast typer, and luckily I am too. So when I'm doing most of my calls over Zoom, so then I already have my computer there and I can type what they're saying, because I'll reflect a person's words back to them, and sometimes I paraphrase, but I've found that isn't as impactful as saying someone's like actual words, because in some cases people will be like, oh no, I didn't say that, and if I paraphrase, then I'm like, okay, you're right, you didn't say the exact thing. But if I read it back to them and they're like, I didn't say that, I can be like, it's like, no, you literally said that. And if it's something really negative, then they're like, oh wow, I just said that, like like to myself, like about myself. And then so it can be really revealing. It's like the things that come out of your mouth, because if you're saying it then out loud, then like you're also probably saying it in your mind, like in your subconscious, and it's like, okay, well, how many times a day are you unconsciously saying that negative thing to yourself?
That brings up the interesting concept of internal monologue, what we tell ourselves each day. That's kind of interesting. Like, if we change that, we pretty much change our habits in our daily life, because we're changing that mantra, whether it's negative or positive, that we were playing for ourselves.
Yeah, and that reminds me of so the coaching program I went through to be trained in some of the stuff. One of the books we read was Joe Dispenza's like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So I like him because since I have a background of medicine, and like I like to have kind of like proof of things. It's like even if you can like see that it's working, it's nice in my opinion to like see the have it backed up by like data. And so he's actually done data where they have proven some of these things that they're able to do with like kind of rewiring people's thought patterns. But one of the thing what you were saying reminded me of is that they've done studies that show that by the time people are 35, like 95% of their thoughts are like pre-programmed. I think it is. So it's like all of the things like you're saying about yourself are things that you've learned up until that point. So like unless you like consciously take steps to reprogram, and like say positive things or like say just like different things, then like it's really difficult to, it can be really difficult to like change like the patterns in your life.
So you're basically mimicking or repeating stuff you've picked up different places?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and it's like ingrained in your mind from like in your like neural pathways from just like your life and like, the way you've developed.
Well, to me that brings up the idea of self-awareness. So to me, like in personal development, self-awareness is like the biggest thing you can possibly have. Being able to observe what's going on with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would come in handy with the negative monologue, internal monologue.
Yeah, definitely. And I think coaching, I feel like coaching can help with that too, like becoming self-aware. Because sometimes the people who think they're like the most self-aware, like aren't aware that they're being like super negative to themselves, or
because it could be second nature to them at that point. So you're like, well, that's just that. Yeah, you wouldn't examine it necessarily.
Yeah,
true. That makes sense. Yeah. Let's see. We covered a lot of topics. Let me see what else we had here. I don't know. Is there anything else that comes up for you? We had a couple more ideas about like intention setting, and also like some of your background, like some of the stories you bring to the table when you're doing coaching. Do you want to talk about those two things?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's nice to get to know people. And so, one thing about me is, I've run like 8 marathons and like shorter races and 2 ultra marathons as well, which is like, in case you're wondering, is anything over like a marathon length thing. And sometimes I think people hear that and they're like, oh wow, like she's like very motivated. But I actually like to give it as an example of like building confidence, because like the first time that I ran a marathon, like I had in the previous like 3 or 4 years like not been successful in even like training for a marathon. Like I set the New Year's resolution, like I'm gonna run a marathon this year, and then like each year I would get only like a few weeks into the training, but then the actual year I did run a marathon, the way that I actually completed the training is that I had built the confidence before even deciding to do it that I was capable of running every like 5 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that came from like I was pretty depressed at that time, and I like didn't feel like going home from work at the end of the day because I was living by myself. So I was like, I'll just go to the gym and then I'll like be home as like little as possible in the evenings. And so I would like run on the treadmill like a mile or 2, and then it by the time it became like mid-January, when it was like time, it would have been time to start training for like a spring marathon, I was like, oh, I'm running like 20 to 25 miles a week, and I've been doing that since like October. And like so I had confidence that I could at least show up every week and stick with the marathon training schedule. And so I didn't know if I'd be able to run a marathon because I would have to wait until I got to that place and see how it went. But yeah, I did have the confidence to do that. So that was about like incremental change, because I wasn't running 20 to 25 miles a week like the very first week. I was just like, I don't know, really, really slowly like jogging for however many minutes. So.
Yeah, that's a really good example of how you fit it into your real life.
Yeah, and so it's like I wasn't getting up and going to the gym in the morning, for one, because I was like having trouble getting out of bed to go to work. But so it's like kind of like not a negative example, but it is about like fitting it into your your life. Yeah.
Well, do you think in the back of your mind that intention was there, or it just really didn't come up until you realized how much you'd achieved towards your goal? Because you had said you had set the intention in previous years as a New Year's resolution. So do you think somewhere in the back of your mind you had that intention still?
Yeah, I had a long-term goal of, like, sometime in my life, like, running a marathon.
Yeah, so it's kind of there, but even though it wasn't at the forefront of that until you realized you had gotten there.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, the other thing is that I was working in a place where there were, like, a lot of healthy people and, like, people who did run.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, like, they're doing it, like, I can do this too. So it is kind of, like, a matter of, like, who you surround yourself with. So I just, like, happened to be surrounded by people, like, fortunately, who, like, really enjoyed, like, being active, because I really enjoy being active, and I'm happier when I'm active.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard that. What is it? It's the closest 3 people or 3 to 5 people that you spend the most time with or something?
Yeah, I've heard it's like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. But then I actually saw something within the past week that they're like, it's not just 5 people, it's like all of the people that you spend your time with. So even if, like, the 5 people you spend the most time with are like positive and stuff, it's like, I don't know, there can still be kind of like energy drains or something if you have people in your life that you're not setting good boundaries with or something.
Yeah, along those lines, I think there's something where even if you don't see people anymore, you may have picked up some naysayers. So, like, when you say things like, everyone knows such and such, like, these generalizations, you're actually mentally picturing unconsciously a couple people. Have you heard about that?
That's interesting. So there's still, like, even though, like, you've tried to take them out of your life, like, they're still influencing you. Possibly,
yeah. I think I read that in, like, a Martha Beck book or something like that. She talks about that maybe at one point.
That's interesting. Yeah. So
you
it's
have
like,
to go through and weed it out.
Yeah, and like, or like catch yourself and, like, instead of repeating that, like, saying something else.
Or just re-examining, like, what do I really mean? Like, most people, I don't know what most people think, type of thing.
Yeah, like, can you give me an example?
Okay. Like, you were doing the example of getting up early in the morning. You have to exercise then. So, like, what is that based on? You're like, everyone knows you have to get up early to exercise. But maybe there's, like, 3 people in your life that you don't necessarily even see anymore. And when you say everyone, unconsciously, you're talking about a group of people. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, something like that.
I see what you're saying.
So you have to, that would be something you really have to examine, because you're not even aware of who you think that everyone is at that point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Whew. This is a good interview. We're getting to some good topics.
Yeah.
Well,
that reminds me too, because you're asking, like, well, who's coaching for, and who's, like, my coaching for?
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like like, I call myself a health coach. And I have a background in medicine, so I think a lot of people are drawn to me for that. But, like, really, it can be about, like, anything.
Any goal.
Yeah, and sometimes it starts out as, like, a health goal, but then it's like, okay, well, like, now that you've, like, taken care of that, it's like, what else do you want to examine?
Yeah.
In your life, or maybe there's something else actually going on. Yeah. That's like more important to look at.
I guess that's the holistic idea, that, like, every aspect of your life will be affecting something else to some extent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, we'll see if we have any more questions, but thank you so much for being here for this interview. I felt like we got to a lot of really good topics.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I think we enjoyed the card reading so much last time that we're going to do a new card reading with a spread based on motivation issues. So we're going to do some cards and add that on too.
Yeah, that sounds great. Cool.
Here we are with some cards to go along with our interview.
Here's our deck. Do you want to so this is the first Oracle deck I ever had, which was a gift from Belle years ago. I think at least like 10 years ago. Do you want to tell a little bit about it?
It's called The Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. And it's really fun. It has some good topics. It even has almost like different suits. Or it has a couple of different topics. It has the main pictures and then it has those like signposts, I think.
Yeah.
Is this the one that has the signposts?
I don't know. We'll find
Maybe
out.
not,
We'll
maybe
find
not.
out when we try the
I don't know. Maybe it's one of her other ones. Anyway, we'll see what.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Signpost doesn't sound familiar, but maybe I
Okay.
haven't used this deck in a while. I'm not sure.
No, it might be another one that I have, but it's by the same person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm shuffling. Yeah, so we're gonna draw 3 cards about motivation. Because I was thinking past, present, and future.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could talk about incorporating those.
Nice.
That's been coming up for me recently when I've been getting coached is integrating my inner child with my present self and my future self.
Oh,
And
interesting.
and being my own mentor, because like my future self has the wisdom to offer.
Wow.
My
That's a lot.
my current and child self. Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Should I spread them out?
Yeah.
Here, do you want to choose the first card? Belle?
Sure.
Or do you want to choose all 3?
No, I'll just choose the first one. Here, I'll choose this one for the first one.
Okay. And I'll choose that one.
Second one.
Yeah, and then you want to choose the third one?
Sure, I'll choose this one. Great.
Excellent. All right, and these are the cards, in case you're wondering.
Ooh,
I
those are
think they're
pretty.
nice.
We're just setting them out here.
Yeah. All right, what we got? So this was the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this one upside down? Is that what that
Oh, that's so bizarre. Because like most of them aren't upside down. Okay, what does it say?
means? So it says partnership.
Oh, wow.
I think this is going to be backwards, right, for people, but...
No, it flips back.
Oh,
It
does
shows backwards now, but when we play it back, it'll be
Oh,
forward,
that's
yeah.
nice. Here, look, technology. I mean, so partnership. Cool. Yeah, I've forgot how much I like these cards.
Okay, so that just, to me, that's about relationships in general. Partnership, I think that could be about, like, all kinds of relationships. It comes to mind
Yeah,
for that.
including your relationship with yourself.
Yeah,
Right,
that's true.
Yeah.
Or that's in the past, so I was thinking, like, how your relationships affect you, like, when you were younger. What those relationships are, what's sticking with you. You learned or need to unlearn.
And this, like, it looks like you're going through, like, a path in between this rock wall into, like, an open field.
Yeah?
And it's interesting for me, this actually reminds me a lot of Vermont, where we lived when I was in residency, because they had so many stone walls.
It looks like New England, yeah.
Yeah, and especially like, with like the leaves changing and that sort of thing. Should we read in the book?
Yeah.
Because I'm curious what the upside down part means.
Yeah. So that means, I think that would mean having some type of issue with the way you relate to something in your life, either people or something else. That's what I would say. I don't know what those
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's see. It says, you're put on notice to seek connection in all things. This is the coming together of ideas, the fulfillment of attraction, the marriage between two people, and the harmonious blending of energies. If you're inquiring about a partnership of any kind, this signifies the importance of observing the qualities that this relationship creates as a result of the sum of its parts. There's always much to learn in the choice of partners. When you receive the blessing of partnership on this part of your journey, it is a sign that the object of your inquiry may indeed give you what you need. It's a portent of opportunity where the partnership exceeds the potential of the individual. This sacred journey marker reminds you that you're never alone and that there's also always a partnership with the divine. It is a very auspicious omen. Maybe this is why I like these cards, is because they don't give reversals.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing, there is no,
I think
like, backwards thing.
the reversal would just be like an emphasis. Like maybe it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's the same meaning. Just more challenging than you thought it would be.
Yeah, and it says it's a very auspicious omen, so I don't think that it being in reverse means it's not an auspicious moment. Maybe it just means to, like, yeah, it's calling on you to pay attention to the partnerships in your life.
Exactly. You know what comes to mind for me? Have you heard of people marrying themselves? Because you're talking about the relationship to yourself.
I heard about that more recently. Yeah.
So that's cool. And also, I was thinking about people from my past that I need to get divorced from. You know, like that I'm still carrying around some aspect of that relationship.
Yeah, we
And,
were
like,
kind of
I need
talking
to break
about
it
this
off.
in, like earlier in the
Yeah.
about like
Uh-huh.
severing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's like what partnerships are serving you, and which ones are not.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, cool. Number 2. So this is for the present. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's interesting. So the partnership one didn't have any words below, but this one does. So this is the owl.
The owl.
And the words underneath are deception, wisdom. Deception and wisdom. Interesting.
Like flying in the night, getting your prey.
Yeah.
That's an owl. That's a little too literal, maybe.
Yeah. This reminds me of my son, too, because whenever he sees the owl, he's like, whoo, whoo.
Oh, yeah.
Whoo. Yeah, and we have there's like a little wooden one and like an alcove like above, at the top of our kitchen cupboards. And so he'll be running around in circles and then he'll like stop and like point at it and like, whoo.
Aw, that's so cute. That's adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, so deception. Oh, look at those talons on
Yeah. I always think of birds of prey as having really, really good eyesight.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's what it would mean to me, is having a really clear vision of what you want.
Mm.
And having that wisdom to tell yourself what that clear vision is.
Yeah, and owls hunt in the dark in particular.
That's true. Yeah, it's not just a hawk. It's specifically an owl. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, you won't see them coming. Let's see. The owl lends you eyes that you need in order to see in the dark around you. The owl can cut through the shadows to illuminate the real truth. Someone may be trying to camouflage his or her real intentions. Deceit, lies, and an unclear intention are exposed with owl energy. The owl also reminds you to be honest with yourself and snap out of any lies or denial inside you. Lying to yourself is the way that you'll remain lost in a prison of your own making. The owl appears to ask you to seek the truth in the darkest places within yourself. This will set you free and restore you to wholeness. All is well with the owl to guide you. Deep wisdom into human nature is gained through the ability to recognize untruths. Owl is an important and powerful ally.
Cool. You're gonna use that in your coaching. You're in a prison of your own lives.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like all of us are in a prison of our own lives if we like stay in denial.
Yeah, I don't think I would broach the topic that way. But yeah, that might be true.
Yeah, that might be met with some resistance. You're in a prison of your own making.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, but I think it's
good for the present position.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, it's not about getting out of the dark. It's about seeing through the dark.
Yeah, about seeing through the dark. Because, owls are, like, super comfortable in the dark.
It's true. So it could be, like, the more deep parts of your psyche. Like, how you're being introspective in the present to help yourself.
Yeah, the owl lends you eyes that you need in order to see in the dark around you. So just think of me as your owl, and I'll lend you my eyes. I'll to see into your soul.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Let's see. All right, number 3.
Oh wow, a lot of animals.
This is the horse. Accepting help from another. What did it say? Delegating authority. So this is for future.
That's interesting.
The horse. Accepting help from others, delegating authority.
Weird. Cool. That's strange. I don't like to delegate authority. I like to do everything myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would future you have to say about that, Belle?
Sure. Huh. I think of like the horse is like speeding into the future. Like maybe I don't know. So what do you think that would mean? Like slow down or just keep speeding into the future?
I don't know. Well, so the horse. I was thinking horses we use for a lot of things, and this horse like is galloping around freely. It looks like, but I also was thinking, like where's its bridle and all that stuff. So it's like, maybe. I mean, horses seem pretty content when someone's riding them. So it's like you could like hand over the reins to someone else.
Yeah, or the difference
for a time, or
it's true. Or the difference between a wild horse, just like running free but having no direction, versus having like some steering or guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Let's see what the horse has to say. 26. The horse appears on your path to offer assistance. If you're asking a question about your life, the horse says that you will indeed receive help from another to aid you on your quest. Too often, do you refuse help from others? Do you sometimes feel that although you give to others, no one helps you? Well, you don't have to walk the whole way alone. You can get help. The horse appears to remind you that assistance is for the asking. Sometimes you need to be carried to get to your destination. Trust that when the horse appears, help is yours. Remember to ask for it and also remember to accept it when it's offered.
Cool. That's good for coaching. I feel like that's like goes with coaching.
Yeah.
Like, ask for that assistance and I don't know. Yeah, it goes. You can work on stuff on your own, but you can also get coaching to have that reflection.
Yeah, and when something shows up that you weren't expecting, it's like, oh, was I unconsciously asking for help?
Oh,
in
that's
this
interesting.
area?
If someone lends you a hand,
Yeah.
you had been hoping for.
Yeah, or like when people are like, wow, this is really synchronous. Like I was just thinking about this. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe you were unconsciously like
Oh yeah.
putting like energy out there to that you want to
Yeah.
help with something, and then it like shows up.
Oh yeah, like when people. I just heard this. You know the band Florence and the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, the way that she got the harpist is they just ran into each other somewhere in the early days when she was starting the music. I don't know if that's a true
interesting.
story or not, but she had all this synchronicity happening or something.
Yeah, I feel like it seems like a true
Yeah, could be
story.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds true.
So let's see. So we're doing motivation. So how do past, present, future? So how do all of these cards?
Okay, how do they go together?
Yeah. What do you
Okay.
think about?
So I feel like this is a big one about relationships, mostly with yourself, and then which ones are serving you, which relationships are not from your past that you need to clear out.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, the owl is about seeing in the dark of things that you're intimidated by, but you should just look at them with your clear vision, and it will help you in the present. And the horse is about not being afraid. Maybe once you examine your partnerships, now you don't have to be afraid of relating to others in a positive way. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like if you. if we're talking about like motivation, it's like if you look at like what didn't like partnerships, like what didn't work for you in the past, and then like you borrow the owl's eyes to like see in the dark like anything that might be remaining that still isn't serving you, and then being able to ask for help and or accept it, so that in the future that you have like all the support that you need.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like getting that wisdom, like the owl stands for wisdom sometimes. Getting that wisdom that you learned from your past and being able to apply it.
Yeah. Like I feel like for some people, like it's like that support is just like an app on their phone to remind them to do stuff.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so it can be something small that really adds up.
Yeah. It's like my alarm's going off. Like that means I need to like stand up from my desk and like walk around or something.
Oh yeah, I've heard about those. The ones that just remind you to stand up and stretch.
Yeah. So you can like keep the good vibes going.
That's cool. Cool. Well, thanks a lot for being here today, McKamey. I felt like we got to like a lot of good topics. Like so much for people to think about motivation, intentions, habits, self-talk. Yeah.
Agreed.
That's cool. Thanks a lot for being here, and we will see everyone next time.